This video is sponsored by Framer. As a motion designer, animation principles like timing, easing, spacing, and follow-through aren't tied to any one tool. They apply anywhere things move, including your website. Today, I'm gonna show you how Framer gives you the tools to make intentional motion design decisions on the web. If you don't know about Framer yet, it's a website builder that feels like a design tool. And it gives you a canvas to actually design your website instead of just writing lines of code or dragging on pre-made blocks. And as a motion designer, the way that you present yourself online is critical, both in design and in motion. Fortunately, Framer has a surprisingly sophisticated animation system that gives you complete control over how things move. Instead of building a sequence with keyframes on a timeline, you're building interactions. You're controlling how the viewer is actually going to interact with your website. And even though you're not in control of what they do, you are in control of how their interactions look and feel. And Framer gives you the tools you need to be a motion designer for the web. Let me show you how it all works. I have Framer open here. This is an empty dashboard, and I'm gonna start by just opening up a template. So I'm gonna go to Browse Templates, and there are just so many templates for you to choose from, completely different designs, both paid and free. And for this demo, I'm actually going to filter just by the free templates. And there's one in particular that I wanna take a look at. It's called Drafter. So I'm gonna click on this to preview it, and then I'm just gonna say Use for Free. And this will open it up in my Framer account, giving me a copy of this design that I can freely edit. And this is that canvas that I was talking to you about. I can navigate around it using my mouse wheel. I can hold down spacebar. It feels like a design app. Control mouse wheel to zoom in and out. You can navigate this web design exactly like another design app. It's very responsive and allows you to do things like design for multiple resolutions. That's why we have 3 different versions of this template on our screen: desktop, tablet, and phone. Since I'm on desktop, I'm gonna focus on this one right here. And to preview what this would actually look in the browser, you can just click on the play button at the top of that frame. And here we see a template full of animation. It all revealed as it was loading, and I can scroll down. You see there's all kinds of motion throughout this entire template. Now, templates are just meant to be a starting place, but let's say for the sake of this demo that this is what I want my website to be. But I'm not fully happy with all of the interactions that we have here. And I'd like to apply some of the animation principles that I know to some of these interactions, like this toggle switch going back and forth for one, or the hover effects that we have over these buttons. So I'm gonna press Escape to get out of that preview mode. And let's just start with that hover animation of the button. This is actually a component, which if you've used Figma, you're probably already familiar with that concept. But it's a design element that has specific parameters that will adapt to the content within it. And depending on how you set it up, you can reuse it in very sophisticated ways, including the way that it moves. So if I double click on this button, it's going to open up that component in my layers view. And now I can see all of the different states of this button, and they're all labeled very clearly. So we've got a primary version of the button, a dark version, a soft version, a small version, and a white filled version. These are all variants of the primary you can see on the left side here. But the reason why they're doubled up here is because there are 2 different states for every single button. And this is that concept that I was talking about. Instead of working with keyframes on a timeline where you're working from point A to point B and it just plays through in real time, here we're working with interactions. The user is the one determining where they are in time and space, and the interactions of their mouse cursor or their finger on a phone or a tablet are what determine when specific animations play. So for this specific button, it's our job as a motion designer to decide what should the state of this button be when the user is not hovering over it. It's the standard idle state of the button. And then we have a hover state. What happens when the user mouses over the button? Now these 2 buttons look identical, but if I preview this animation again, we're now just looking at this component. As I hover over it, it's triggering an animation that kind of rotates the text and animates that arrow. Now, I don't particularly like the easing. It's very slow to get out of that initial state, and then it eases really strong into the second state as well. So to change that type of animation, I'll press Escape to get back to this view and then just click on this button's container. Now, if I scroll down the properties on the right side here, eventually I'm going to see a transition property, and it's set to ease. If I click on it, this is where we can control the animation transitioning between state A and state B, or however many states you have for that particular component. And you can see that we have an easing curve. It's a value graph complete with Bezier easing values and some other properties to help customize the way things look. And if you click on this button right here, you're going to get a preview of what that easing curve will produce. This is on an X position, but it's applied to whatever you've set up. So if we take a look at the contents real quick, you'll see that there are two copies of that text. One of them is rotated down and its opacity is set to 0. We see that here, our opacity is set to 0, the rotation is 3D and -60 on the X. We also have some perspective here, so lots of really great controls for manipulating text and shapes inside of Framer. But then if we go to the hover button and take a look at this text, the first text layer, which is what we see up here, is rotated up, it's invisible, and the second copy is now in view. And so that's what's creating that 3D rotation as I hover over and off of this button. So if I just press escape here and I go back to that easing curve, we can change how this works. I don't want to ease out of this first value. I want it to kind of hop out. So I'm going to move this much higher like this. I'm going to bring this out and just change my Bezier value to 1. That looks good. And that's going to give me a much snappier animation. Now I think a ½ a second is also a little bit longer than I want, so I'm going to drop that down to 0.4. And now we should have something that responds much more quickly, and that feels a lot better to me. So that timing, that easing, those kinds of principles can be applied to anything that moves, not just keyframes. Interactions, state changes, anything that moves is your responsibility as a motion designer to decide how it should look and feel. And with that simple change, this component transition is going to be global across the entire template anywhere this component is used. And notice that it's not just being applied to that get started text, but also to this arrow. Now, another thing that I'd like to change is that state A arrow doesn't move, it just fades out. And I'd like to have it move off the screen. So let's go ahead and take a look at those component assets. And let's just distinguish these two arrows first. So we'll say arrow A and then arrow B. And now I can see the link between those two on both instances of the button. So on this first one, it's centered in the white circle. And on the second one, it's just turned its opacity down to 0. So I'm going to turn that back up to 100%. I'll scroll up to the top of this menu here and change the position from relative to absolute, and then just click and drag this right property until it's all the way off. It's being clipped to that white circle, but now that arrow is going to go off to the side when we hover. Now, I also need to handle this arrow B on the initial state. It's also set to an opacity of 0 at the start, so I'm going to turn that up. We'll again change that position. It's already set to relative, and I'll just drag this back until it's completely off the circle to the left. Now if I play this back, when I hover over it, we're actually going to see that arrow moving, which I like a little bit better. So that's how we modify animations inside of Framer. If I go back to my page, to the home, and preview this, I can now see those animation choices applied to anywhere that component is used. So I can scroll down the list. Here's a different version of that component, the dark version, but the animation is still being preserved. Down here at the bottom, these buttons are doing the exact same thing. But what about this toggle button? I don't think that's very snappy, and it's really hard to see when it's white. So let's go ahead and edit that next. I'll zoom out here, scroll down and find that toggle switch, and then just double click on it to bring it up. So we have a few different states here. If I scroll over, here's the light button. What I'd like to do is grab this color right here, that gray in the background, which I can find right there, gray 4. I wanna make it a little bit darker, a little bit bluer, and now we're gonna see that more clearly. There's more contrast between those two states. But then I also wanna modify the easing of that transition. So I'm gonna grab that component, scroll down, and you'll see that this is set to spring. Now it's a very small spring. There's not much to it, but we have some pretty sophisticated controls for creating a physics-based or time-based bounce. And depending on how you like to animate, you can switch between either of these. I'm gonna leave it as is and maybe turn the damping down. And you see that now we're gonna get a much more springy toggle. This might be too much. Let's just preview that one more time, but let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's a lot of spring. So way more than I probably should have, but it's really easy to change. I'm just gonna go back into here, click on spring, and then turn that damping up a little bit more and see how that looks. And very quickly, I'm able to modify that toggle, and I think that feels really nice. And thinking in terms of states is kind of a big shift for a motion designer that might be used to keyframes on a timeline, but I promise you, once you get in here and start working with these different states and just controlling transitions between them, you're gonna fall in love with it. It's a really fun process to be able to create an interaction instead of just a timeline. And we've only scratched the surface of what Framer is capable of. All of those beautiful text animations that we saw when we previewed this page loading are completely customizable. You can animate things based on characters, words, lines, add in blurs, different types of transforms. It's very similar to text animators inside of After Effects, but again, instead of just playing the animation back, you can set it up to be triggered based on specific interactions from the user, like scrolling, which is why when I scroll down here, those animations are being triggered. It's a very different way of thinking if you've never created a website before, but Framer really sets you up for success by giving you a tool that feels like you're just designing, which is how I prefer to work. Animation principles can be applied everywhere, and Framer gives you the tools you need to apply them to the web. You can get a free month of Framer Pro by using this code or clicking the link down in the description. I've also included a playlist from Framer down in the description that gives you a really great introduction into animations inside of Framer. Go check that out to get up to speed. And if all this talk of animation principles is going way over your head, check out my course, Animation Principles for Motion Designers. There's also a link down in the description for that. Thank you so much to Framer for sponsoring this video. Thank you for watching it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.